Curious George visits the railroad station. George, said the man with the yellow hat, I promised Mrs. Silverman a ride to the railroad station. Come along. They got in their little blue car and drove off to pick up Mrs. Silverman. George, said the man with the yellow hat, I'll go and help Mrs. Silverman with her ticket. You stay here until I come back. Look around, but don't get into trouble. George looked around. People were rushing in all directions. A man and his son were on their way to the gate to catch a train. The boy was holding a toy engine. Lots of people were looking at a big sign that said, Arrivals, Departures. A train master was moving letters and numbers around on the sign. George came closer. What did those letters and numbers mean? George was curious. He waited until the train master climbed down. Then George went up and started moving a letter. He reached for an A, took it off the sign, and put it in a different place. Next, he reached for a 9 and put it near a 2. George kept moving more letters and more numbers around. What a nice game. What's going on up there? Yelled a man. Now I don't know when my train leaves. What's that monkey doing up there? Asked another man. Let's get him, shouted a woman. George was scared. Quickly, he jumped down, leaped over a pile of baggage, and headed for the gate. A train had pulled into the station, and the passengers were getting off. George ran through the crowd, past the gate, and dived into a wastebasket. Now he was safe. The little boy and his father were standing in line, waiting for their train to come in. The father was reading his newspaper. All aboard, shouted the conductor. Look, Daddy, there's our train, said the little boy, and ran off just as the train master was closing the gate. The father looked up. Come back, son. That's not our train. But it was too late. The gate was closed. The boy put his engine down and tried to open it. But the gate was locked, and he began to cry. George peeked out of the trash basket. The toy started to roll towards the track. There goes my engine, cried the boy, and ran after it. George leaped out of the basket, ran past the boy, and stopped the toy engine just before it was going to fall on the tracks. Just then, the next train pulled in. The train master opened the other gate, and the boy's father ran over to his son. George and his new friend were playing with the engine. So, there you are, shouted the train master. You sure made a lot of trouble on that big board. Don't be angry with George, said the father. He saved my son. Well, said the train master, I guess that makes you a hero. The people on the platform cheered and clapped. Hooray for George! Just then, the man with the yellow hat came over. Come on, George, he said. Mrs. Silverman is on her train, and we can go home. And that's what they did.